What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shogi from Shook Earth Media, and plot twist of the century, I like this episode! We'll be on Season 2, Episode 7. I've been harshly critical of this season so far, but this episode, man, it's really good. I can't beat around the bush or pretend otherwise. This episode, fantastic. We finally have the plot moving. We see why this show exists. We see some actual tension going on, some real drama. And some of the drama stuff they've been setting up is really actually paying off. So I'll just say off the bat, I like this episode. So I'm not beyond admitting that I was wrong about something, or that it's paying off. It's paying off. There's a lot of stalling. I don't take back anything I said before, but this episode, man, oh man, there's so much great stuff in here. So we got this crazy lady here. And it turns out that, I was wrong. There wasn't really a twist to it. She really, the twist is that she was, kind of forced to do some of these experiments. But you can see in this scene where she's testing the chemicals on this soldier guy, this guy right here. She's basically trying to create a chemical that makes the length of time between actual death and zombification longer. So that's what she's testing here, and they're testing it on live subjects. And there's hints she cares about it, but here she's just blatantly killing this dude, and she's cold, man. She's cold. So yeah, no, that was a good scene, And then we have them intercutting it with Leo and the girls testing the chemical. It turns out it's chlorine mixed with other stuff. And, they're just figuring out what it is and setting up some actual tension here. And then we got this scene between Jadis and Silas. And I like this scene, too. Jadis has a fun line where Silas says, living at the calling facility is like living in a junkyard. And, of course, obvious reference there. And Jadis is like, you say that like it's a bad thing. And there's subtext there that she's talking about her own life, but of course, even there's subtext in the scene too, that she's, testing his loyalty basically. So there's multiple layers here. I will say the performances and interplay between the characters is really playing a lot better in this episode than in previous ones. I think the directing directing the performances is a big improvement in this episode. And now we see Jadis is here as the auditor. And her role in it makes a lot more sense to me now. I was saying before how it seemed kind of random. But, if this is just who she is in the CRM and we can set that up in the movies and other places, that this is what she does. She comes into a place and solves problems and tests people and their loyalty and stuff. It just makes a lot of sense. So, I'm really liking Jadis in this. Really good. And then we get this guy whose name I'm still forgetting, but he comes in here, and his character I thought was pointless too, I'll be honest, and now it seems to be paying off as well. He takes Silas's side, and they seem to be playing it this is the rebellion that they're building. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. Then we got this scene where Hope here is hiding the vial. And then Mason comes down, and this scene is really well directed as well. Before the relationship between them just felt so forced to me, but this scene, it's really natural. This is two people mutually attracted to each other, and they got the little bit of awkwardness mixed with some flirtiness and stuff. It's a good scene, it's just good. So I like that. What else? Yeah, Leo having this conversation, and she comes in, and the tension is building in this episode, and it never lets go. So that's one of the things I really like about it. And the music, like how I was saying that episode where they're thinking about breaking out, they're just talking about breaking out the whole episode, and this tension was built, this artificial tension was building, and it was all in the score, it's good, it's getting intense, and then nothing happens. This episode, the tension is building, and things are actually happening too. So it works for me, and there's not any, real logical issues that I can just point to and be like, oh, wow, that's really stupid. There's none of that in this episode that I can really think of at the moment. Or if there was, I was distracted enough to accept it, So this scene, and they really play Leo and his girlfriend character's name I'm forgetting again, But she's the interplay between them is really strong in this episode because you're like, what is her goal here? She's clearly on the CRM side, but she still seems to care about him too. Like, is she trying to cover for him? Is she trying to cover for herself? There's this mutual there's this conflict there, and you don't know how it's gonna go. And it surprised me at the end. We'll get to that, but yeah, there's a nice little surprise at the end. And I will say the relationship here is playing off better too in this episode. I don't know what it is exactly. I think it's the directing, if I had to say. I do think it feels a lot more natural now. And yeah, now we got Leo getting arrested, and then Felix, like, I don't know, he's acting crazy, but we already discussed how he's more like a villain now. Well, I mean, now that we know for sure the CRM is just straight up evil, even though we knew that all along, but now that it's out in the open like this, it kind of makes more sense now. But like, I don't know, he's like, you gotta arrest me too, man, you gotta arrest me too. I don't know why he thinks that's gonna help, you know? I don't know, I didn't really get it, and they didn't really need that in the storyline either. Like, they didn't show him getting interrogated or anything, so, you know, I'm just really not sure why he did that, but maybe it's just a show of loyalty, I guess, to Leo. So, I don't know. It didn't seem necessary to me. That's, like, one criticism I have. And then, like, this interplay with Huck and Jadis is playing out really well, too, because Huck is clearly not okay with a lot of the things the CRM is doing, and she ultimately is on the side of Leo and the kids, and we see that building more at the end. But she's still, you know, she has to make it appear like she's on Jadis' side, and she's helping with the interrogation. She's got to say things that make sense, and it turns out that this whole interrogation was a test mostly of Huck, and that Jadis already kind of knew, because it turns out there are mics around the place. Like I said, there would be mics around the place, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, no, so that's playing off really well. And then we get this scene where we get back in this room here. They really like this set, you know, they want any excuse to use it, and they used it very well in this episode. So they got the scientist lady and the kids, and now they're basically discussing, like, she needs the vial back so that she can get some pressure off Leo. And that's what this argument here is about. And I like that they set up a little bit of conflict between the sisters as well. Like, Iris really doesn't want to trust her, help her in any way at all. And Hope just gives up the location of the vial. So that was really good conflict here, and I really like this. And there's a line of dialogue here that Jadis references later, hinting that she has a mic in this room, which of course they would. It's a top secret facility. There's surveillance everywhere. I've been saying all along that they're acting like there's no recording devices or anything, and of course there are. So, you know, that was really good to see. Yeah, she shows this, like, test subject, and, like, she has a rat that comes in, and her point here is that the rat is a living thing. Living things get tired, but the dead, they don't. So eventually the dead will win. That's her philosophy here, and that we need to do everything we can to stop the zombies. Stop the zombies. So yeah, that was good. And that's the line that's referenced by Jadis later. So I like that a lot. Yeah, and it's a good conversation. It's drama. Again, the tension is building up. I really like it. Really good. And then we get Silas and his boss guy. I really probably should remember these names now, but yeah. So this scene's good too. He's like, he admits that he was lying. Like, Silas is a good kid, and I like Silas as a character, and he admits that he was lying. You know, he said that he got lost, and that's why he was at the other facility, and he covered for him. And he's trying to figure out why that is, you know, and maybe he's starting to have some doubts of his own, and he doesn't trust that the CRM would do the right thing with this kid. So that's why he lied to the CRM, and that's showing, you know, that's loyalty that usually the CRM would try to get out as much as possible. And that's what Jadis' job kind of is this crack down on anybody who has any doubts like that. In this time where we get the big reveal at the end of the episode. We'll get to that. But the big reveal at the end of the episode, what the CRM's doing in the background. And I really like that. This interrogation scene, excellent. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. They really did a good job at having Huck break down Leo's psychology here. and he basically admits to not being in love with his girlfriend anymore. And they're breaking down like, okay, why did you after 10 years as a single father start dating again, and what is it about her, and really breaking that down. And that's just, I mean, it's just excellent interrogation tactics. Now here's one thing, like, I don't know why they're still in the room at this stage. Shouldn't they have left by now? That's what I don't get, but it's just so we can have this, we have a little chase scene where some guards are coming in, and they're not looking for the kids, they're looking for the scientist lady. And they do end up finding her, and we get that thing where it's like, oh, they get a radio call in the nick of time. And there's been a previous episode in this series where that was kind of annoying, but we set it up though, so I'm not all that upset with it. And even if they did find them, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of this episode. So I'm okay with that scene there. I think it works there because we set it up. Of course, the scientist lady is going to find the vial, and they just need to not be hidden long enough for her to find the vial and get back, basically. So. It kind of makes sense, so I'm not gonna be mad about it. But yeah. And then this scene breaking down that it was actually a test for Huck, because she already knew that, or maybe I'm actually jumping the gun, but yeah, that's basically, that's Huck explaining Leo's psychology, and that she thinks Jadis is right. And then this is the scene of being chased. I do like how they directed this, They have them going through. They use that. It's not a big set, I can tell. So it's a small set, and they used it. They made it look like a maze. They went around every corner and all of that. So I think they did a good job filming that. It's kind of hard to film a scene like that in a way that's believable. So I do respect it. Would they really be able to get away with that? I'm not so sure. They would probably hear some footsteps or something, or I don't know. But they did it well enough that you can buy into it. So, overall, I'm not really mad about it. So, yeah. We get the zombies reaching in. And then she comes in and just gives up that Leo stole it. And she thinks that that's her best play here. She thinks that Leo is going to have protection because he's a genius. A genius, as I'm known to say. He's a genius, right? And he's valuable to CRM, so they're gonna keep him alive. But she thinks that she can protect herself by giving up the vial, and that Leo would be fine, and she would be fine. So that's her play here. She does still care about Leo. I think she probably knows that the relationship is donezo at this point. But yeah. And earlier I didn't mention this, but she reveals that apparently the Omaha and college campus thing, which we get some answers about in this episode, she said that she knew about it and the operation was going to happen anyways, and they just used this as an opportunity to test out the chemicals that she's making, and that tracks to me. So I'm okay with it. It wasn't like the project's whole point was to wipe out those communities. The wiping out of those communities just was an opportunity to forward the project. So that made sense to me. And again, like, we're 30 minutes into this episode, like, a lot of stuff has gone down, and there's a lot of tension, a lot of drama, a lot of great dialogue. Like, this episode is the best episode of this series. There's no competition to me. This episode is absolutely great. I really enjoyed it, and I'm as surprised as anybody that I'm saying it. And then here we get this pretty epic scene where she gets her comeuppance, and Jadis is like, we don't need you, and we're gonna lock you in the room with this zombie. And she has Huck, another test of loyalty, she has Huck undo the bindings and let the zombie attack her. And this is where she says, the rat always gets tired. Couldn't have said it better myself. And now we know for a fact that she was listening to that there's cameras or microphones in that room, that she knew that conversation happened. Again, which also leads into the fact that she knew the kids were there too, and that, if the soldiers found the kids in that dramatic chase scene, that nothing would have became of it, So that's why I'm okay with that scene kind of having that, convenient ending, but it kind of works, So I really like this. Now, the logical part of me is like, okay, if they wanted to kill her, well, first of all, they could just arrest her and she committed crimes, right? So they could lock her up for life. Number two, they could have used her as a live test subject, right? Or maybe they still will. So I was a little bit like, why did they just let this happen? Why not just use her as a live test subject? Why not? We're already in that sphere, We're already. But I mean, it's great. It's a great scene. I'm willing to forgive that a bit because we get the blood smearing on the thing, we get the handprint going down the thing, and I mean we don't get so many of these like great zombie scenes in this show in particular. So it's nice to see. That's not really the word I should use, but yeah, it was a great comeuppance. I really liked it. I really liked it, even though I had some logical issues. And then it doesn't stop. There's another great tension scene here. And Huck comes home, and this guy, he's here. And now I'm thinking, like, okay, yeah, that's why he wanted to come into this facility so bad. He wanted to kill Huck. That's the whole reason. That's why. And it makes so much sense. And I don't know why I didn't, like, I probably did notice that before, but, like, now it's just so obvious. And this scene is great, too. Like, he's about to kill her and she accepts it. She's like, yeah, you're doing me a favor. And it doesn't feel like to me she's making that up. Like, that's her genuine reaction at this point, I think. She kind of wears her heart on her sleeve a little bit, even though, she has done the subterfuge thing before. But in this scene, I really think she's being genuine here. And then she reveals the big secret. The whole reason why the campus colony, why Omaha was destroyed, is because the Alliance is going to be over, and it's just the CRM. The CRM wants total control. Now, I would like to see more information about that. I would like to learn more, and it just makes me curious to know more about what's going on with that. So, but that to me, it kind of makes sense. I still have trouble believing that they would wipe out an entire community instead of just like wiping out a few people that were rebellious and just subjugating the rest of the people. I mean, to me, it's like the people are such a valuable resource. I still have trouble really buying into it, but it's it works for this particular episode. So they have this great scene, the intercutting between that scene and this one, and then Huck visiting her husband, and we get some great tension here too because Silas comes in just in time to see them, and he starts freaking out. Like there's a lot of good, all these great scenes are intercutting, and it's great. There's really good tension here, and it's really building up. And like, where has this been this whole time? Like, the show feels like it's been stalling this whole time, and now all of a sudden it's like, let's go. Like, we're in a rush. Maybe like episode 7, they're like, okay, the series is ending. We gotta really, we gotta really write our way out of this. So I don't know. It's just really working for me. So all of a sudden, I like this episode. I like the show. And then we get this scene, and then he's like, oh, I didn't kill Huck because of you, because he knew he wouldn't be able to get away. And I feel like that's part of it, and the other part is the CRM thing. So, it's a nice little romantic thing. And then we get this scene with Hope and Mason, and when this scene first popped up, I was like, why do we need this? We had so much great stuff in this episode. It felt like we didn't really need this scene. And then he reveals that his dad is the big kahuna, the big general, the top guy in the military of the CRM. And again, I was like, where are we going with the storyline? And they answer it right there. Right there. That's where we're going with the storyline. Okay? He may be the key to everything. Converting him might help, a whole rebellion happen, So I don't know. I'm really feeling the tension here. And then Silas grips the weapon that he has, and he's angry, and that's the end of the episode. And this episode, great. I like it. I give it like maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Pretty dang good, man. Pretty dang good. I am impressed. I am excited not to be giving a bad review. As much I've had fun with these bad reviews, but I like this episode, and I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited to see how this ends. So, if it was like this the whole time, this show would be great. If we skipped all of season 1 and skipped to this stuff, awesome. But yeah, I don't know. That's my review for this episode, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And yeah, if you liked this episode, let me know what you liked about it. If you disagree, I would like to hear that too. Definitely open to hearing good points about why this episode didn't work for you. But yeah, I'm loving the tension. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm as shocked as anybody. Plot twist of the decade, dude. Your boy Shuggy likes this episode of World Beyond. What the hell happened? What's going on? The world is changing. Everything's turned upside down, man. But anyways, guys, I will be back again with another video soon. We'll be reviewing Fear this week as well. I actually watched this episode first, so yeah, we'll see. I'll let you guys know if the hot streak continues. But I love this episode, man. So hope to see you guys in the next video, and peace out. Yeah, sub for more videos and like and all that, and hope to see you on the next one.